Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pop Anime Comics here from PopAnimeComics.com and the Pop Anime Comics Lounge. Attack on Titan Season 2, Episode 36. It's pretty much the saving of Eren and Krista as the Survey Corps are closing in on the Armored Titan. Reiner, Bredenholt, Ymir, Krista, and Eren. They're just going to go save them and stop them. So what winds up happening is that they realize that Ymir's protecting, Ymir's working with Reiner and Bredenholt. They have a pretty strong hold on protecting Eren. And it comes out that Reiner and Bredenholt have a mission and that they don't really want to kill people, but they have to because they kind of owe somebody some debts. And that's what's really occurring. And we start to see how they kind of have some split personalities and they're torn, but they're going to continue their mission. And then it comes out that Ymir is going with them because she has a sin to atone for eating their comrade and taking his power, and that they need Krista / Historia for some reason, which is kind of tied to her family. It's not exactly alluded to, but somehow Krista / Historia is tied to the Wall and the Titans and everything in that realm, which is kind of a teaser for the next arc of why the Walls are made up of Titans and how that occurred, and how the Walls have similar building blocks to the Titans. And so that's really what it all deals with. And then we kind of get a glimpse of Mikasa saying she's going to kill anybody who's in her path. And Historia says, wait, don't kill Ymir. And she's like, well, 6 years ago, what happened to me? I don't really have sympathy for my enemies anymore. And so we see that Mikasa is very much damaged, and she cares a lot about Eren, and she doesn't really have many compassionate moments for her enemies as she wants to save Eren and really her only family left. And then we realize that the Survey Corps really can't break through the Armored Titan, and so Erwin makes a decision to lead a bunch of Titans to go target the Armored Titan and clash. Kind of delays him, and as he's escaping, his arm gets bitten off, which is a small price to pay for freedom, and then he winds up saving Eren after Armin makes a move and challenges and really starts to hit the emotional complexities of Reiner and Bredenholt. Basically saying, hey, you guys know where Annie is, and you're abandoning Annie, and we're torturing her every day, and she's healing, but the pain never truly goes away. And so we really get that going on, and that really is the impetus for opening up a moment where they get to save Eren and then retreat. And so that's really the entire episode. And a lot's coming out of it because we get a moment from Ymir where she says there's no future in the Walls, implying that the Walls are going to be destroyed and humanity is going to be pretty much on its last legs and ultimately eradicated. And following that, what we get is that we also get her saying that outside isn't that bad. And that everything has faults, but once you look past those faults, it's not really that bad. So that kind of is an aim at the government and a little bit of a stab saying, maybe you're being controlled. Maybe the government is trying to hinder you or prevent you or keeping you purposely caged inside of a wall. That's kind of hinting at it a little bit, which is something that the next several arcs are going to be exploring in Attack on Titan, along with the fact that we get to witness a lot more Mikasa, as I mentioned, and how she has lost her humanity in many ways, and how she's lost her compassion and her ability to really feel for another human being, as she so willingly and easily will kill Ymir without a hesitation. The only reason why she stops is because Krista is blocking her pathway. And so we really get this evolution of how what she cares about, what she values, her mission, how she truly values allies, and pretty much the only family she has left is Eren. And I think that's crucial moving forward in Attack on Titan, because several decisions are going to be made with her, as the manga alludes to, and the manga has covered with Mikasa and Eren and that entire thing. And then we also see Armin really start to develop and come from this being this little bit of a coward, shy character, kind of not exactly in his place yet, and he gets into his place in this episode where he does bring up Annie and he does start to enrage Rayner and Bredenholt and call them out on some of their BS and their principles and saying, hey, we have Annie and you're leaving Annie because they wanted to rescue Annie and how they're torturing her. And that stops them briefly because it creates a complexity for them. And it's a brilliant strategy by Armin, and then Eren is pretty much saved as a result of that, where he makes them stop and think, and it grants an opening. And so this shows strategy and how he thinks and how he reacts and his entire plan. And this is his really coming out of his shell and really kind of stepping up and coming into a new role in the Survey Corps and that entire thing. So that's what this episode really deals with. And that's going to be crucial going forward as we start to dive into more complex issues, such as the issue of the government and the role of the Survey Corps and challenging the royal government and getting questions answered. And what this episode does, as well as several other episodes before, and this arc really hits it right on the head, where it dives into what other abilities the Titans have. It doesn't necessarily grant them a mission, but it alludes to the fact that there are several other shape-shifting Titans out there, and that they live in a town, a community somewhere, and that they want Eren's power. They want Historia's power, and somehow that's all tied to the government, and that information isn't exactly revealed at the moment, but it's alluding to something bigger. And this entire arc is really throwing out some questions that are answered in the next several arcs of who these Titans are, what the government knows, what the government doesn't know, how everything was formed, why humanity is where it is. And this is just it answers some questions, this entire arc, and this episode answers some questions, but a lot of the answers to the questions that are asked in this episode and this entire arc are going to be really answered in the next several arcs, in particular when the Survey Corps comes into clashing with the Central Military Police, which is really where the next arc is going, as the manga is going in that direction, and we're going to get a lot more answers with that. So that's really my entire take on it, and really the big ideas. I know this is a bit longer, I don't want to go too much into details, but that's really where this is all going and what's about to happen next, and how every question that's asked in this arc and thrown out there that's not answered is going to be answered in the next arc for the most part. So that's all I got for today, but before you go, I'm doing a con. It's going to be on Facebook, June 17th, 8:30ish. It's Attack on Titan and The Walking Dead. Fahrenheit 451, a contrast and comparison type panel. Big ideas on that. Really cool panel, so definitely check that out. Also, I'll put the link to my Facebook, my Twitter, Pop Anime Comics, at Pop Anime Comics, popanimecomics.com. Great articles up there. The podcast is doing phenomenal. Got a great guest coming out later tonight, so definitely check that out. Spike Spencer, Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion. I got a Patreon up and running. I do this for free, guys. I mean, come on. It's like $1. You get a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of cool rewards. I'm going to be adding a lot more cool stuff at the end of June, so definitely check it out. Definitely consider donating, because that's how I get to do videos like this. I get to run the podcast through the website and bring you great stuff, as well as I get to go to a lot of cons and do panels there and really entertain you, because cons don't take care of panelists. So definitely think about donating. Every dollar helps. It makes me able to do a lot more of this and a lot more cool stuff. So if I benefit your life in any way, definitely consider it. All links down below. I know it's a long video. I apologize. A lot of stuff happened in this episode. So definitely check it out. And I will see you next week.